Good evening, blindies. Well, we've got a new addition to the channel, and I'm going to tell you the story on how it happened. Well, a while back, before Beryl, the Tickford Fairlane, went missing, me and my mate went on a road trip down to Victoria, and Beryl at the time had the loud exhaust and the 18s on her. She was looking pretty sharp and loud as hell. So me and my mate, we're exploring around Victoria, and we come across this bridge and there was a track off to the side. So mate's like, oh, we'll buzz off this track and check out what's down here, eh? So we cruised down and the track went around and underneath the bridge, so we parked off to the side and we're wandering around under this bridge, and my mate's like, oh, there's fish in here, blimey, I might throw a line in. I'm like, let's do this. So we're sitting on the bottom of the Fairlane fishing, got stereo pumping out the good old Angels, and, you know, typical yobbo bogans we are. And I hear the crunching of gravel of these footsteps approaching. Who's that? My mate goes, some young bloke, little lad. I'm like, oh yeah. Well, lo and behold, it turned out it was Bogan bloke. So he rocks up to us, and he's like, in his squeaky little teenage voice, a couple of years ago, he's a bit older now. He's like, nice Fairlane, mate. I'm like, oh yeah, cheers. He introduces himself and tells us about how he's into cars and video games, and pretty much me and my mate are thinking to each other, geez, this guy's a future work in progress of us. So, being bogans we are and that, we offered him a cigarette and a beer, and he declined and said, nah, might be a bogan, but I'm a bit better than that, mate, or a class. We were like, impressed. So, he's like, can I check your car out? I'm like, yeah, rightio. So, he wanders around the side and looks at the wheels, and he's like, nice 18s, good brakes behind it. I'm like, cool little bastard. Goes on to, you know, sticks his out on the guard. Oh, you've done the suspension. I'm like, yep. Checking out inside, and if you recall, it had the wood grain steering wheel and the mad stereo, and, you know, all the usual bells and whistles a blind garage car should have. He's like, cool. And then he says, can I check out the motor? I'm like, yeah, this kid's bloody annoying, you know, inquisitive little bugger. So I pop the bonnet, and he's like, pod filter, exhaust, I'm like, man, cool stuff. So we close the bonnet, we sit around for a bit longer, and he wanders off. I'm like, how cool's that kid to be, mate? He goes, yeah, but where'd he come from? Because we're, you know, in outback Victoria. And this kid just wanders up. So I check out his channel, and it turns out he's from a farm. Must have been too far away, because he obviously discovered us. And it's full of rusty gold, and he likes to play with it. So I was like, wonder if I can keep him as a pet bogan bloke. So I hit him up.
Facebook, and interested to know what's going to happen. Camera.
In our next edition of Blind Garage, you'll get Bogan Bloke's response on his version of events on how we met. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Welcome aboard, Bogan Bloke. You're a strange little young man, but we think you're pretty cool. So stay tuned for his response, and remember the rules, guys. Keep ties, and patilli.
Stop record.